Sometimes, cutting someone off is the strongest form of self-respect. When someone loses the privilege of access to you, it's important to remember, blocking them doesn't stop their desire, it only stops your availability. And if they truly wanted to change, they wouldn't need to chase you down, they would have valued you before losing you. Blocking someone is often misunderstood. People might say it's petty, dramatic, or even childish, but the truth is, blocking someone is not a weapon you use to hurt someone else. It's a boundary you set to protect yourself. It is not about trying to get a reaction or punishing the other person. It is about taking care of your peace, your heart, and your emotional health. When someone has repeatedly shown you that they do not respect you, do not value you, or do not have the capacity to treat you with the love and care you deserve, keeping them in your life becomes an act of self-betrayal. You owe it to yourself to step away, and sometimes the cleanest, most powerful way to do that is by removing their access to you completely. Blocking is not for them, it's for you. It's a declaration that you are no longer available for the games, the false promises, the cycles of hurt and the emotional chaos. You are not available for half-hearted efforts, late-night apologies, or sudden bursts of attention that mean nothing the next day. When you block someone, you're not being cruel, you're being kind to yourself. You're saying, I deserve peace, I deserve clarity, I deserve to move forward without being pulled back into pain I've already survived. Setting this boundary is an act of bravery because it requires you to prioritize your well-being over the fear of being misunderstood. It forces you to choose your healing over their comfort. The world often romanticizes the idea of leaving the door open or always being available for someone you loved. But the truth is, not everyone deserves endless access to your heart. Love is not a justification for allowing disrespect. History is not a justification for accepting less than you deserve. Connection is not a justification for lowering your standards. Blocking someone is a conscious decision to end a cycle. One where you were continuously giving chances that were never truly honored. It's about realizing that love without respect, without effort, without accountability, isn't love at all. It's attachment, it's habit, it's fear. And fear has no place in a heart that is learning how to heal and stand tall again. When you block someone, you create space for yourself to breathe, to think clearly, to feel your emotions without their constant intrusion. You give yourself the gift of distance, and distance brings perspective. It's hard to see the full picture when you're still stuck inside the frame, when every text, every call, every pop-up on your screen is pulling you back into old feelings and old wounds. Blocking gives you the freedom to detach from the noise and finally hear your own voice again. The voice that says you are worthy, the voice that says you are enough, the voice that says you deserve more. Some people will try to guilt you for blocking them. They'll call you cold, selfish, immature. They'll act as if your boundary is the problem rather than their behavior that made the boundary necessary in the first place. Don't let that noise confuse you. People who truly cared about you would have never put you in the position where you had to block them to begin with. People who valued you would have respected your boundaries long before you had to enforce them this way. You don't owe anyone unlimited access to you simply because they once had it. Access to your life is a privilege, not a right. Understand that blocking is not about weakness. It's about strength. It's about knowing when enough is enough. It's about recognizing that someone else's inability to treat you right is not your burden to carry. You're not giving up on love, on kindness, or on hope by blocking someone. You're choosing those things for yourself. You're deciding that you would rather be alone and at peace than with someone who brings you pain. You're choosing solitude over chaos, healing over hurt, freedom over emotional imprisonment. And it's not always easy. Blocking someone, especially someone you once cared deeply for, can feel like a small death. It's the death of dreams, of hopes, of the version of them you believed in. It's hard to close that chapter, to admit that it won't be rewritten into a fairy tale ending. But closure doesn't come from conversations, from one last meeting, from hearing "I'm sorry" just one more time. Closure comes from within. It comes from accepting what happened, understanding what it taught you, and loving yourself enough to walk away from what you know isn't good for you. Blocking is not erasing someone out of cruelty. It's removing the ability for them to continue hurting you. It's taking back your power, your peace, and your right to move on without unnecessary detours into past pain. It's giving yourself the environment you need to grow into the next version of yourself, one who doesn't live in fear of being dragged back into something that was never meant to last. To block him. Block him without guilt, without explanation, without second guessing. Block him everywhere, because your peace is more important than their access, because healing requires space, because loving yourself means choosing yourself even when it's hard. When you block someone, you might think the story ends there, that the silence will be respected, that the boundary you drew will stand firm. But what many people don't realize is that desperation, ego, and a need for control don't simply vanish because you've hit block. If anything, it often stirs something inside the person you're trying to distance yourself from. They feel the shift. They feel the loss of access, the loss of control. And in their desperation to reclaim even a tiny part of it, they will find ways to creep back in. New numbers, fake accounts, mutual friends suddenly reaching out. It becomes a pattern, a quiet desperation to prove they still have a place in your life, even if it's just through a crack in the door you've tried so hard to close. It's important to understand that this persistence isn't a sign of love. It's not a grand romantic gesture. It's not the universe telling you to give them another chance. It's ego, plain and simple. It's someone's pride getting bruised because you decided they no longer have access to you. It's someone fighting, not because they finally realized your worth, but because they cannot stand losing the control and comfort your presence once provided. And if you mistake that desperation for love, you will find yourself right back where you started, hurt, confused, and questioning why you ever tried to heal in the first place. When someone finds ways to bypass your boundary, it's a clear sign they are still thinking about their needs, not yours. True respect would look like honoring your silence, accepting your decision, and reflecting on their actions. But when someone tries to sneak back into your life, it's a selfish act dressed up to look like affection. They're not checking in to see how you're healing. They're checking in to see if they still have access to your emotion. They're not reaching out to build a better foundation. They're reaching out to feel important again, to confirm that they can still get a reaction from you. You have to be stronger than their persistence. You have to recognize that just because someone finds a way to contact you doesn't mean you owe them your attention. You don't owe them a reply. You don't owe them another chance. You don't owe them another chance to explain themselves. If someone couldn't value you when they had full access to your heart, to your love, to your loyalty, why should they be rewarded for ignoring the boundary you fought so hard to build? The desperation to reach you after losing you isn't a sign that they've changed. It's a sign that they still believe they're entitled to you, even after everything. It's tempting, of course. The sudden text from a new number, the DM from an anonymous account, the unexpected friend request. It stirs something inside you. Maybe hope, maybe anger, maybe sadness. It stirs memories of the good times, the what-ifs, the dreams you once built together. But you have to stay grounded in reality. You have to remember the reasons why you blocked them in the first place. You have to remember the nights you cried, the conversations that went in circles, the promises that were broken time and time again. You didn't block them because you were impulsive or cruel. You blocked them because you needed to heal. You blocked them because staying connected was hurting more than helping. You blocked them because you finally realized that peace matters more than potential. Every time they find a way to reach you, see it for what it is, another test. A test of your growth, a test of your self-respect, a test of whether you are truly ready to leave the past where it belongs. They will try to convince you they've changed, that this time will be different, that they finally understand. But real change doesn't come with force. It doesn't come with sneakiness. It doesn't come with breaking through your boundaries. Real change is patient, it's quiet, it respects the space you needed to create. And real change isn't something they tell you about, it's something they show you through actions, over time, from a respectful distance. So when he finds a way to reach you, remember, it's not because he loves you in the way you deserve to be loved. It's because he misses the comfort, the control, the convenience of you. It's because he took you for granted when he had you, and now that you're gone, he's scrambling to patch the hole he dug himself into. Don't be flattered by desperation. Don't be fooled by the noise. Stay strong, stay silent, stay firm in your boundary. Because the right person, the one who truly sees your worth, won't need to chase you down through blocked numbers and hidden accounts. They will respect you enough to let you go, and they will respect themselves enough to grow without needing to drag you through the dirt all over again. When someone truly changes, it doesn't look like desperation. It doesn't look like constant calls from random numbers, frantic messages from fake accounts, or uninvited appearances in places they think you might be. Real change is never loud. Real change doesn't chase you down and force its way into your life. Real change happens in silence, in private, when no one is watching. It's a decision made in the quiet moments, when someone sits alone with the consequences of their actions and finally understands what they lost. Not just the convenience of having you there, but the value of your love, your loyalty, your presence. And when that understanding finally sinks in, it humbles them. It doesn't make them hunt you down. It makes them step back and let you heal. Chasing you down after you've set a boundary isn't a sign that they've grown. It's proof that they're still driven by their own needs, their own discomfort with being cut off, their own panic about losing the access they once took for granted. Real growth recognizes that love isn't about force, it's about respect. Real growth understands that if someone walks away, you don't chase them, you honor their choice. You reflect, you work on yourself, you become better, not for the sake of winning them back, but because you realize you should have been better all along. Someone who has truly changed will not be scrambling to get a reaction out of you. They will not be trying to reopen old wounds just to ease their own guilt. They will accept your silence even if it breaks their heart, because they know they caused it. They will respect the distance because they know healing is not a performance they can rush or a show they can star in. They will understand that trust, once broken, is not repaired by force. It's rebuilt slowly, carefully, respectfully, and sometimes it's not rebuilt at all. And they will accept that too, if it means allowing you the peace you deserve. You have to be able to see the difference between genuine growth and desperate scrambling. One is quiet, patient, humble. The other is noisy, frantic, selfish. One says, I respect your space, even if it hurts. The other says, I don't care about your space, I just want what I lost. One understands that real change isn't about proving something to you, it's about becoming someone better, with or without you. The other is only focused on winning you back to feel powerful again. And if you let the noise trick you into believing it's love, you'll be stepping back into the same old cycle, mistaking chaos for passion and desperation for care. Someone who has genuinely changed doesn't just say, I miss you. They say, I understand why you left. They don't just tell you they love you, they show you with patience, with respect, with consistent actions over time. They don't try to drag you back into conversations you're not ready to have. They don't guilt trip you into responding. They don't make your healing about them. Instead, they focus on becoming a person who would be worthy of another chance, not by demanding it, but by earning it through real, lasting change. Change doesn't beg, it doesn't manipulate, it doesn't demand, it transforms. And transformation takes time. It requires humility, accountability, and a willingness to face the parts of themselves they always tried to hide or deny. Real change requires someone to sit with their regrets, their mistakes, and their failures. And instead of running from them or trying to erase them by winning you back, they choose to face them, to learn from them, and to grow into someone who would never make the same mistakes again. You don't need someone who finds a way to force themselves back into your life. You need someone who, if they return, does so with quiet strength, with patience, with deep, undeniable proof that they have changed, not because they lost you, but because they realized who they became wasn't good enough for themselves and for the people they claim to love. You need someone whose change is so real, so rooted, that even if you never spoke again, they would still be better because of it. That's the kind of change that matters. That's the kind of change you deserve. And if they never reach that place, if they never become that better version of themselves, that's not your burden to carry. Your job was never to fix them, to wait for them, or to guide them through their growth. Your job was to protect your peace, to heal your heart, and to move forward into the kind of love that doesn't need to be chased, tested, or doubted. Real love won't make you question if you're respected. Real love won't make you feel like you have to compromise your healing just to keep someone around. Real love will honor the space you needed and trust that if it's meant to find you again, it will happen without force, without manipulation, without games. So when someone tries to chase you after you block them, don't mistake their noise for growth. Listen to the silence instead. Listen to the way someone respects your absence. Listen to the way they step back, not because they don't care, but because they care enough to let you breathe, to let you heal, to let you choose if you want to open that door again. Not because they forced it open, but because you saw through their actions that they are truly different now. Until then, keep choosing yourself, keep choosing your peace, keep choosing the kind of love that doesn't have to be chased to be real. Healing is not something that happens when you leave a tiny window open for someone to crawl back into your life. Healing demands total separation. It demands that you cut off the energy, the memories, the back and forth cycles that kept you stuck for so long. It demands that you create a sacred space where their influence, their voice, their manipulation can no longer reach you. When you block someone, truly block them everywhere, you are not just closing a door, you are locking it, sealing it, and throwing away the key because you finally understand that your heart deserves a fresh start, not a second round of the same old pain. Many people fall into the trap of partial boundaries. They block someone on the phone but stay connected on social media. They block their number but still check their pages, still leave just enough space open for a message to slip through, for an update to appear. And what they don't realize is that healing cannot thrive where hope for chaos still exists. Healing needs finality. Healing needs you to accept that there is nothing more to be said, nothing more to be fixed, nothing more to be rescued from the ashes. Healing requires you to choose yourself so completely that even if they found 100 ways to reach you, you would meet them with silence, with strength, with a heart so fiercely guarded that no apology, no memory, no guilt could undo the boundary you fought so hard to build. If you leave even the smallest crack open, they will find it. They will slip back into your thoughts, your heart, your healing process. One little "how are you" message, one random post you weren't meant to see, one song they dedicate to you in the shadows, and suddenly you're spiraling again. You're questioning if maybe this time it's different. You're replaying old memories. You're wondering if you made a mistake, but you didn't make a mistake. You made a decision to protect yourself from the emotional roller coaster that drained you. And every time you allow even the slightest connection, you set your healing back. Days, weeks, even months. You pour salt into wounds that were finally starting to close. Total disconnection is the only way to truly reclaim your peace. It's the only way to detox your mind, your heart, your spirit from the toxicity that relationship brought into your life. You can't heal in the same environment that broke you. You can't move forward if you're still looking back. Even through the smallest crack in the door, blocking them everywhere is not about being angry. It's not about revenge. It's about clarity. It's about saying, I choose me. I choose my future. I choose my sanity over your chaos. It's about giving yourself the clean break you need to fully rebuild yourself without old pain dragging behind you like a chain. People will try to tell you that blocking is immature, that it's petty, that you should just move on quietly, but they're wrong. Blocking is mature. It's responsible. It's what you do when you realize that self-preservation isn't cruelty. It's wisdom. You are not obligated to keep access open to someone who has shown you they don't know how to handle your heart with care. You are not required to listen to explanations, to tolerate endless cycles of apologies that mean nothing, to give second, third, fourth chances just because history exists. You are allowed to cut ties completely, without guilt, without second guessing, without apologizing for needing peace more than you need. When you block him everywhere, you take away the opportunity for confusion, you take away the emotional games, you take away the late-night texts that shake your resolve, you take away the lingering hope that somehow, someday, maybe, things will magically be different. You remove the hooks he once had in your heart, and in doing so, you free yourself to fully, deeply, finally move on. Healing isn't about being strong enough to stay connected without falling apart. Healing is about being wise enough to know that connection is what keeps you stuck in pain, in doubt, in cycles that steal your energy and your joy. Complete disconnection teaches you how to live without the constant noise of their presence. It teaches you how to build a life that no longer revolves around waiting for a message, analyzing every interaction, hoping for change. It teaches you that your happiness was never supposed to be dependent on someone else getting their act together. It was always supposed to be something you created within yourself, something that was yours and yours alone. When you cut off all access, you give yourself the space and the silence needed to remember who you are without them. Strong, whole, worthy, complete. The truth is, healing is messy. It's painful. It's full of moments when you doubt yourself, when you miss them, when you wonder if you did the right thing. But every time you stay strong in your decision, every time you resist the urge to unblock, to check up, to respond, you are planting seeds of self-respect, of independence, of unshakable inner peace. You are telling your heart, your mind, your spirit, I choose you. I choose healing over history. I choose freedom over familiarity. I choose a future where I don't have to wonder if I'm enough. Blocking him everywhere is not the end of your story. It's the beginning of a new one. One where you are the main character, not the afterthought. One where your days are no longer dictated by someone else's whims, where your emotions are no longer tied to someone else's attention. It's the start of a chapter filled with your own dreams, your own growth, your own light. So block him everywhere. Block him without hesitation, without apology, without looking back. Your healing deserves nothing less than complete, unapologetic, beautiful freedom.